Hi everyone, it's Kristen. So with the past couple comics, I've been talking about random comics. Well, I ran across this one the other day also. Scooby-Doo, the Mystery Inc. gang teams up with Batman. Um, yeah, it was I think during a free comic book day. They put that out every year. It's usually in May. Your local comic book shops will, you know, it's usually a Saturday. And they'll have selections of comic books available that you can just take for free. They usually limit you to, two or three, depending. And you can just go in there and just pick some. They are trying to, get people interested in comics and hopefully getting people into the shops and getting more business. But I try to go every year. One year, I definitely I forgot, and I was pretty sad when I realized the next day that I missed it. But anyway, I think this was 2014. But it's just, it starts with the Mystery Inc. gang, talking about how there's been a man bat or giant bat spotted, and they're like, well, and you can see it's pretty much in the kind of in the style of the cartoon, pretty simple art. The colors match very well. They're not like comic book colors, so to speak. They're more of I will say kids colors, if that makes sense. But it's just a vision. I mean, it's obviously it's geared towards kids, and it's just also, I guess, if you're nostalgic, geared toward Scooby-Doo fans or Batman and Robin, from the 60s fans. But it's just kind of a fun, goofy comic book. And, they're like, oh, look, Daphne's like, look, I see a bat, and it's Batman and Robin. And Robin's like, well, it's not Jimmy Olsen. Ha ha. And then they talk about, hey, long time no see, Batman. And Fred talks about how they keep running into all sorts of people. Like singers, basketball players, Batman and Robin. It felt like we were teaming up with someone different every week. And that's a nod to the Scooby-Doo team up that they did, where they did meet with the Harlem Globetrotters, Batman and Robin, a lot of different singers in the time. There was that singer, wow, I can't remember her name now, but she was in one, and she inherited a candy factory that was haunted. But anyway, so that's basically a nod to that they're talking about. So, Batman's talking about hey, I'm on the trail of this, man bat. So it sounds like you kids are too. And what happened is he was a doctor who hoped to cure human deafness by using a bat extract, because bats have really good hearing. But of course it didn't turn out the way he expected, and it turned him into a bat. That kind of reminds me of course, the lizard from Spider-Man. Dr. Kirk Connors, he wanted to figure out a way to help people who have lost their limbs regrow them, since lizards can do that. And of course it didn't turn out the way he wanted, because it turned him into this monster, basically, who usually doesn't have control of himself, and just, so that's what it made me think of. So basically they hear a scream, they go to the mall, and people are running out of the mall, and they're like, oh my gosh, it's hideous. And they're like, Shaggy's like, oh my gosh, look, Batmen, there's multiple of them. Oh my gosh, what are we supposed to do? And so basically, because Batman's there, he uses his batarang to, throw the net on them. And then Daphne's like makes a joke like, oh wow, maybe we should have, you know, I mean, wow, you caught them and we didn't even have to run around and crash into each other first because, you know, in the TV show they usually do that. And then they have to make a elaborate plan, and, you know, Shaggy and Scooby are usually the bait, and Fred comes up with all these kinds of traps, you know, because that's what he does, and that's what he loves to do. He loves traps. And so, you know, they catch them, and they're like, which one of these is the original Man-Bat? And obviously they unmask them, and they're just guys. They're using the disguise to rob the mall. But then they actually see the real Man-Bat in the mall also. You know, coincidence. I mean, you know, like I said, this is just a simple comic book, just a one-shot story. It's not like they're going to drag it on. So, of course, you know, to make it simple, he's going to be in the same area. And Shaggy's like, oh, let me unmask this guy. And then he's like, oh my gosh, he's not wearing a mask. And he gets carried away with him. And Batman's like, hang on, you know, I'm coming. I'll save you. But in the meantime, while they're like trying to, you know, save Shaggy, the other guys, they get away. Well, they try to get away, but like Robin's waiting for them, like in the parking lot, and he gets them. So, and Batman just happens to have the antidote with him. And so, and then unfortunately though, then he loses it, but Scooby, who is usually the hero anyway, grabs it with his tail, gives it back to Batman. Batman gives it to the Man-Bat. He changes back. And they all get, you know, everyone helps save them by catching all of them in the net. And Batman's like, though, you know, the thugs, they were trying to rob them all. They didn't escape. No, did they? And Fred's like, no chance of that, luckily. They were having a sale at the House of Rope. And so the guys are all tied up, and like I said. And the doctor's like, thanks for the help, Batman. You know, when I become a Man-Bat, I can't control myself or anything. And, you know, Batman's like, these kids really deserve your thanks. If they hadn't risked their own safety to weigh Man-Bat down, I could have never caught up before you flew away. And, you know, Batman says, you see, Shaggy, I knew you and Scooby could be brave and bold. That's a nod to the Brave and the Bold Batman animated series that they did for a couple seasons. It didn't last very long. It was kind of more goofy, like more along the lines of the 60s version, but it wasn't as goofy, I will say. It was still, you know, worth checking out, but it definitely, like, the Batman animated series from the 90s, I would say that's the best incarnation, like animated incarnation of Batman for sure. But it was still, you know, the Brave and the Bold, that was still kind of a fun, anyway, kind of a fun series. And then, of course, you know, Scooby does what he likes to do, scare Shaggy. He always, like, if you watch Scooby-Doo ever, like, he always has to do that to Shaggy. Like, he'll put on the mask or, you know, try to scare him. And then, of course, Shaggy is scared because Shaggy is a scaredy cat. And so is Scooby-Doo usually, but, you know, especially. And then Scooby says, yeah, I think I'll stick with the craven and cowardly. You know, because Batman said, hey, you guys were brave and bold. And Shaggy's like, no, not really. I'm good. Like I said, it was just it was, you know, the length of a real comic book, but it was very simple, because it was just a one-shot issue. It was just a fun nod to Scooby-Doo meeting up with Batman and Robin. So like I said, I guess this is kind of my series of random comic book videos. I don't know. But it was just, I saw that one and I thought it was fun. On Free Comic Book Days, they give away a lot of random comic books. I think I have like a strawberry shortcake one that I got for my nieces one year, and they rejected it. I thought, hey, it's a comic book, but it's strawberry shortcake. Surely they will love this. No, they didn't. So I still have it somewhere. I mean, like I said, I have a lot of comic books, like close to 1,200, like individual comic books like this. I mean, that doesn't even include my like trade paperbacks or anything, but I really tried. Like I've said before, I tried to get my nieces into superheroes and comic books, and it just didn't work. Oh well, I guess their loss. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you will join me again in the future for more videos. Until next time, bye.